Hey guys, my guest tonight, Joan of Angels, is going to tell us about the angelic realm. We'll be right back. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? I hope you said great. I wish I could hear. I can't hear. Anyway, my name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We are 45 strong up and down the state, which means if you have a paranormal need or you think you have a paranormal need, we can get to you. It may take us a couple days. California is huge. People don't realize how big we are. We could be in our own country. That's how big we are. So, in the case that it does take us a couple days to get out there, we do have mediums on staff who can phone you and talk to you about what may or may not be going on in your neck of the woods. And if it is paranormal, in most cases, they can calm the energy down until we can get out there and find out what we're dealing with and all that good stuff to help you out. Okay? Way to find us? All over social media. Just type in California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. Website's coming back up, too. I'm getting real excited about that. Anywho, if you're watching from Facebook, and a lot of you are tonight, please feel free, if you like what you see in here, please feel free to hit that follow button, because I'm always looking for followers. Also, interact with us in the chat room. I'll chat back. I don't write back, but I do chit-chat back. My guests too, right? And please be sure to throw us a thumbs up. Those weird happy heart things that I can never do. I tell you, it reminds me of the Vulcan greeting. I don't know why I cannot do that heart thing that people do. That round thing. It's like the Vulcan hand greeting. Throw some of those out there. And the reason why is because the master computers, and this works not only for Facebook, but this works all the way across the board. Whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on YouTube or whatever, the master computers see that, and they count at every interaction that you have with us. Okay, even if you share it, let's say you share the show with someone in your home, it counts that. And so what it does is it puts us up higher, and then it will suggest us out to people. Like when you scroll down Facebook, and you come across the reels that are there, right? Those are suggested reels. But you go down further, right? And all of a sudden it says suggestions for you. And it could be people you don't know, or maybe it's somebody you know distantly, or some interest that you share with somebody, or maybe it's a particular page on Facebook. That's the For You page. That's when you see that hashtag FYP. That's what that means. So every time you share and interact with us on the show here, that makes Facebook put us out to the FYP. And it does the same thing over YouTube, etc., etc. Now over YouTube, if you're watching from YouTube, and a lot of you are tonight, I have more than 1,000 videos over there. They're all of this show. And they're all different topics. When I go in there to do work in there, I get a headache because there's so many videos. So I have started to put them into categories. So I would say a good 90% of them are now categorized. So if you're into Medium Nancy Matz, who's going to be with us tomorrow, you click on her folder, go in, pick whatever show you want. If you're into cryptids, etc., etc., it works that way. And it works the same way too. Share, leave us a thumbs up or a happy face, right? Chat amongst yourselves in the chat room. Like I said, it works the same all the way across. TikTok's the only one that's a little different because you got to double tap that screen to likes. We're not on TikTok tonight, right? Also, if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Again, we're always looking for help. Why do you think at the end, my favorite thing is if you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. That's what that's for. Okay, getting down to other business. I want to thank Pam Nishikawa. Yay! I'm just going to have some applaud here for joining the Boo Crew over at the California Haunts Patreon. Remember, I told you we're going to start doing that. We've got to support this show somehow. I don't want to be running that ticker down at the bottom all the time about Venmo and stuff. So hopefully you guys will come on over to the California Haunts Patreon. Get this. Just get this. For 18.5 cents a month, you can help keep us on the air and doing this show. That's all. 18.5 cents. I'm sorry, not a month. My bad. 18.5 cents a day. The dog just bumped my leg. She corrected me. It's 18.5 cents a day. You can help keep us on the air. Plus, there's going to be some cool stuff we're doing. What's listed over there right now is what I've been doing the last couple of years. But Nancy Nats and I have sat down, and we've come up with some really cool extras that we're going to be doing for people at the Patreon. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you, Pam Nishikawa. George, my friend from France, George Thuros, thank you for the donation. He's been with me since the beginning of the show. It's fantastic. Thank you so much, George. I so appreciate it. So there's going to be some pluses. One of them, I'm going to give you a hint really quick. Remember, we had the gentleman on who told campfire stories, which was really cool and really fun. And I've been on other sites. I've been looking at different podcasts and things, and there's a lot of campfire stories out there. People like it. I got to thinking about this, and I thought, well, why don't we do that? And that'll be for the Patreon, the people that are over at the Patreon, maybe every Saturday night or maybe every other Saturday night, so I can go fishing at least once a month. We can tell, quote, campfire stories, even though I don't want to use the word campfire because everybody else is using it. I got to thinking about this today, and I thought, why don't we call it, and this is kind of weird, blackout weather stories, which means, like you're sitting at home, you're watching TV, and then all of a sudden a big lightning storm starts, and there's a big blackout, right? And the lightning's crashing in, and it's really creepy. You got candlelight going on. That's what I'm thinking. We can kind of theme it that way. And you guys can send me in your ghost stories, and I will read your ghost stories online. I don't have to use your name or anything like that, so you don't have to be embarrassed if you're embarrassed about ghost stories. But I will read your ghost stories, which would be kind of fun. We could do it, do it live on the air, and I would love to do that for you guys. Also, if you're in law enforcement or you're in fire department, rescue, I would love to hear your stories as well. So I'm starting to get in the beginnings of putting that together. So hopefully we can do something like that. That's going to be an add-on to the Patreon. All right? And always remember, the Patreon is not going to affect this show. I'm not charging for this show. Okay? This show is a standalone for you guys that have been here all this time. The Patreon is just some extra features to kind of sweeten that so that, we can keep this thing on the air. Okay? All right. Anyway, that being said, I'm going to shut up now. You see this bruise? The black eye is getting better. It's starting to turn yellow now. I'll be wearing glasses probably through the weekend, and hopefully by Monday I'll be able to get my contacts back in. What I didn't want to do was because of the black eye, because the bruising on there, I didn't want to be. Because for contacts, if you haven't worn contacts before, you got to pull the eye up, put the contact in, and then to take it out, you do the same thing. You just pull on that, which would make the bruise worse. So I decided not to do that with my glasses. So I'll be really happy to get back in my contacts. Maybe Sunday I'll get lucky enough to do that. But till then, got glasses. Here I am. Okay, my guest tonight, I'm really excited. Joan of Angels. I've heard her on another show. Really great guest. Over the years as a ghost investigator and doing this, I think I have had contact with the angelic realm, I'd say at least 3 times since I've been doing this. And the first 2 times I was not an investigator yet. I was at home, and I was in my early my early teens when it happened. But it's interesting to think, because when I think back on that, I'm going to talk to her about that tonight. When I think back on that encounter, at that time it never occurred to me that that's what it could be until I started kind of piecing things together because of the people that had lived in my house before my family bought it, and what went on in my backyard. Later on that I was able to verify and things like that. So I'll share that with you tonight too. But I'm excited to talk with her about angels because I think my guardian angels are alcoholics. I really do. The way they have to guard me, because look what happened to me. With the security door. Even though I hit the doorknob with my head, obviously a guardian angel or somebody was watching over me, because it could have been ugly had I hit the edge of the metal security door. I could have cracked my head straight open. Instead, I believe I hit the doorknob, and my foot, because I ended up like in a sprinter position. My foot's fine. It healed right away. So somebody was watching over me. Plus, what you guys don't know, and an add-on to what happened Saturday night, I had because I was going out in my backyard to do some really heavy-duty pruning. So I had gone to get those, the long shears, long pruners. I had those in my left hand when I was going in through the door. So, that could have turned ugly. Had I gone 3 more inches to the left, boom, I would have been like, how like on Grey's Anatomy, they'll take cases from like the ER and put them on the Grey's Anatomy, as part of the story. I would have been on Grey's Anatomy, my story would have been on Grey's Anatomy because the shears would have been stuck in my body or something. So I really lucked out. And so that's when I believe the angels kick in, when they're watching over me, to keep me from being hurt so bad. Okay, I'm going to shut up. All right, and let's bring Joan in. Let's learn about Joan, and let's talk about the angelic realm, and maybe how to kind of contact our angels or our guardian angels. Wouldn't that be cool? Here we go.
Whoa. Hello, Charlotte.
I'm so excited to have you.
That's great. Your whole introduction is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's what it's all about. It's all mysteries, right? That's what we're here for.
We are angels, ghosts, demons,
yeah,
extraterrestrials. They're all from an interdimensional plane.
Yep.
And we don't know who all of them are. So that's what makes it so exciting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How does someone contact angel? Or how did you get involved in the work that you do, actually?
Well, that's very, very interesting. So the way I got involved was in 2013. It was Halloween evening, and I had some painting supplies at my house because I wanted to paint, and I heard this voice. It said, paint 33 angels in 30 days. Now, I have to confess, I was very depressed. I was begging for a miracle, and I was hoping for like a cash miracle. And instead, I hear this voice that says, paint 33 angels in 30 days. And it repeated it 3 times until I finally said yes. And that's how I began painting angels, and ultimately how I became known and called Joan of Angels. I was named by someone when I moved to the desert. She said, who you are? And she just goes, you're Joan of Angels. So that's how I got the name. And that's how I started to really start to connect with the angels and paint them for people. And they told me that I was a paintbrush for them, that I was here to bring so that humans could see what they look like, and then use that kind of energy for healing. So that's how I got started, and then it just went on from there. Then I started seeing wings around people, and I started doing this program called Calling All Angels, where I taught people how you can feel the presence of the angels and how you can call them in and really feel them and connect with them more easily, because they want us to connect with them. And they want to do things like save your life. That's what they do.
Keep you from hitting the security door and breaking your head open. Yeah.
Well, as you were very quick to say, you're grateful that it could have been worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the truth is, when I think about my angel stuff, so many things in my life could have been worse. And when I look back on my life, they were there to rescue me out of times I didn't even know I would need rescuing out of. And I do believe that they did save my life many times.
Awesome. Awesome. When you talk about contact, and remember, growing up as kids, well, we're all kids. What am I saying? Growing up,
when we were kids.
My mother, they're all kids. What am I saying? My mother always told me that I had the good angel over here on the right side, and then I had the bad angel over here on the left side. Is that true?
Yeah. Well, I kind of think that she was trying to let you know you have the choice of the good angel on one side or the devil on the other. You have the light on one side, the dark on the other. And the truth is that we're in a spiritual war on this planet, and it's worse than ever. And that's why it's really good to be talking about angels right now, because we're going into another chaotic period that, we haven't seemed to get out of it since 2020. And being able to trust your angels, knowing that they're with you, being able to interpret their messages is more important than ever because of the chaos that's going to be happening over the next year or two. So I'm really grateful to be able to come and talk to you guys about how do you connect with your angels? How do you recognize their messages? How do you learn to kind of communicate with them so that you can depend on them?
Well, I think I wrote you, my first encounter that I believe were angels. I was a latchkey kid, even back then. Back in the the 80s, well, late 70s, early 80s, right? I was a latchkey kid. And I remember I used to come home and we have a breakfast nook that faces west. It was through my living room. But there's a divider area there, where you walk through because the dining room's on the side. And I remember coming home, I'm sitting there watching, I'm sitting there just having my little meal thing, and I see this white sheet, and to me it looked like a ghost would look to a kid, only there was no face or nothing. It just went from my fireplace to the center divider.
It just moved.
And yeah, just went across, that's all. And it never occurred to me, because I thought, well, what is that? And there's no way it was a reflection of a headlight or anything like that, because this is like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, there's no way. And I remember my sister and my mother telling me stories that the people that owned this house before, one of the sisters was a nun. And they would play Batman in my backyard. And so I got to thinking that, well, I mean, if the nuns are here, obviously it can't be anything all that bad, So that's when it occurred to me that, okay, it's white, just like just like you would think an angel would be. And so that's got me to thinking. But that didn't happen until later on in my life. But I saw it the one time, and then like several years later, I saw it fly back the other way.
That's very, very cool. Very cool. Was it an angel?
I think it was, yeah. I feel it was an angel.
Most likely you're right.
It had a long skirt on, flew across. And, it's just really cool to think about that. That, every time I sit there now, I'm looking at that spot going, yeah, I saw you. I know you were there, And then the second time, we were on an investigation, and whatever this thing was dark. One of my psychics had seen it in the garage, and it was only about 3 feet tall. It was dark. She thought it looked like a penguin with big red eyes. And I was the first one in the house, and I saw it running down the hallway. And I thought, oh boy, we're in trouble. And we went in the bedroom, did an EVP session, and I played it back right away, and this voice comes on, and I heard, "Gabriel, watch out."
Wow. Right. You wrote to me about that. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And the first thing that hit me immediately was, oh my God, somebody's warning the Archangel Gabriel about whatever this is we're dealing with.
Yeah, most likely. So do you feel the archangels are with you when you're going to connect with ghosts, though?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I've got medallions that are blessed and all that, when I go in, for that protection. But just to hear the voice, I mean, it's a class A. You can clearly hear him say and warn Gabriel to watch out.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yes. Well, the angels can protect us from dark energies, demons, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to have them on your side for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. How do we know? Because I mean, there's always little voices in our head. Well, yeah, telling us right from wrong. I mean, let's be real. I mean, you're driving down the street, you're speeding, and you can hear you can hear someone in your head go, or a voice going, "Slow down." There's police probably around here. Slow down. How do we know the difference between, say, an angel trying to communicate with us versus just our conscious?
Well, that, Charlotte, that gets down to whether you can trust your gut or not. Have you learned to actually trust that voice within? And it's a practice. And I teach people, because you don't know if it's your own head making it up or that angel. So if you're in danger, you will know that. You will actually know, because the hair on your arms will stand up, and you'll get that tone of voice will come through. And if your hair stands up, you know that it's a real warning for you. And that's important to know. But in learning how to trust your intuition, or these messages, I teach one practice in some of my classes. Take a journal and start recording all the times you listen to that voice that you heard and followed it, because we get voices all the time. It could say turn right, and you go, well, but I always go left. I'm not going to go right. And then you go left, and you discover you're in 6 hours of traffic.
Right.
So I like to have everyone write down all the times you heard that voice and you listened, and then all the times you ignored it, because that's how you're going to learn. You're going to learn that the voice was accurate almost every time you ignored it, number one. So you lost out that way. And number two, you're going to hear how almost stupid you were when you weren't listening. The times that I did not listen to my guides have put me in so much trouble, Charlotte. I call them guides, I call them angels. I'm always getting messages.
Mhm.
And like one day I got a message that said, don't put your tax returns. I was leaving the accountant's office. I had tax returns for both my kids and myself in my hands, hard copies. And I hear a voice that says, don't put these tax returns in your trunk. And I went, that's crazy. And then the voice said, they're going to, said, I felt like it showed me that the trunk was going to open up and these tax returns are
Mhm.
going to fly everywhere. And I said, that's crazy. No, that's
Mhm.
too insane. I want them in the trunk. And I lost those tax returns. Someone
Oh
called me a
no.
few days later from the LA Public Works to tell me that they had my daughter's social security number. And it was then that I realized that there was something to be said about learning that these promptings were real, that
Mhm.
this voice, whether it's your angels or your guides, it's real. And that learning when you should trust it is one of the most important things you can do,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
How hard it is to communicate with, or how hard is it to communicate with our angels?
Well, sometimes it's really not hard. You can just,
Mhm.
you can have a heartfelt prayer. I used to, years ago, I had this great deck, an angel deck, and every morning I'd sit down with a cup of coffee, my
Mhm.
journal, and my deck. And I would
Mhm.
pull cards. I would, ask a question, pull cards. I'd write it down. I'd kind of think about all the other parts of the question. And by the time I was done, I would know exactly what they wanted from me and what I'm supposed to be doing. So, guys,
Mhm.
you sit out every morning and connect with them, and if you do it regularly, it works out really well. And sometimes, if you have trouble hearing any answers, you can use an oracle deck or an angel deck because
Mhm.
they will speak to you through that. And that makes it easy. So it's really not hard at all. You can just really think about it. The hardest part is deciphering or interpreting the messages.
Mhm.
So a message will come. First of all, you have to hear it. And that's no easy thing because it could come as a whisper. It could come in a way like what? I heard this crazy voice that don't put this into the trunk. I thought that it was nuts. So hearing the message and acknowledging it, number one.
Mhm.
And sometimes it comes as a whisper. You know,
Mhm.
it used to be when I started doing readings years ago, I see a little wagon in my mind's eye, a little wagon, and it would have like a seashell or a dog or whatever they wanted me to talk about. But it took me a while to realize that it would come by on this little choo-choo train and it would go by my consciousness like this. And if I grabbed it, it opened the door to the whole reading.
Mhm.
But again, it took me a while to understand that's what I was seeing. So, what you're going to hear, guys, it could be just a faint whisper. It could be a faint whisper that says, go to the supermarket right now. And you go, I'm not dressed. I don't want to go. And then you'll hear it again. Get up, go to the supermarket. And if you
Mhm.
hear it 2 times or even three, say yes, because oftentimes you will go to that supermarket and a person that you've been trying to get a hold of for months is right there in the market in the produce department. And you would never have known that unless you actually followed that voice. And the more you listen to your angels, the more messages they'll continue to give. So you have to choose back, is what they say. Uh, when I first started working with them, the book flies open to a page that says, your call for angelic assistance has been heard. And then the next time the book fell off, it said, you're to be one of the chosen ones, you must choose. And what they were constantly telling me is that they would send these messages out across the planet,
Mhm.
but only certain people would say yes. So like they sent out a message to thousands of people to paint. I said yes. But it's in your saying yes that then you're giving them the message like, oh yeah, this girl is interested. We'll give her
Mhm.
more. We'll see what she does with the next round. Because, guys, it's a privilege to be able to talk to your angels. It's a
Mhm.
privilege to be considered one of the chosen ones. It's a privilege to wake up and be given a mission and be given an assignment. Like Charlotte has an assignment. I have an assignment so to help you see angels. She helps you see the ghosts and free them. But it's a privilege. And so when you pay attention and you hear the message and then you see what it is, that's the next step, and then you interpret it. So if I'm doing a reading for someone, I'll say, "Oh, I'm seeing seashells. Does that have a meaning for you?" Because it obviously doesn't mean anything to me. I
Right.
don't say it that way, but it doesn't mean anything. It means something to the other person. So actually hearing it and then interpreting it and then seeing what it means and then acting upon it. So because there's several keys here. Number one, they're at a higher vibrational level. They're at a much higher frequency than we are. Now they can come down to our frequency, but they
Mm-hmm.
have to kind of squish themselves down into sort of a different energy field. The third dimension is different than the fifth dimension. And so they would rather you raise your vibratory frequency to match
Mm-hmm.
theirs. Makes it a whole lot easier. So when you practice or do angel meditations or positive affirmations or carrying the light, then you become more of a higher frequency being, and then they can more easily connect with you. And when they connect with you, certain things can happen. Number one, you might find that more synchronicities happen in your life because it's
Mm-hmm.
like you got that good angel on your shoulder, making sure good things happen for you. The
Mm-hmm.
people you want to meet, the job you want to get, the project you want, the money you're looking for. They want to shower it down on you. So saying yes can bring abundance. It can bring you more of what you want. And so it's that change of vibrational frequency that's also important here.
As far as individuals, I know there's spirit guides and angels. What is the difference?
Well, angels are in a certain category. The angels are messengers. So
Okay.
they're warriors and they're messengers, and they can come down directly from source. So the archangels are directly connected to source, God herself, the creator. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
creator energy. And so all these angels have messages. They're here to help heal or guide you in some way or support you. They know your soul contract. They know who you are and what you're here to do. Now,
Mm-hmm.
your what was the other beings we're
Spirit
talking
guides.
about? Your
Yeah,
spirit
spirit guides.
guides. Yeah. So they're guides. They may have been here on the planet before. They may have been incarnated here in a body, and they are on another dimensional frequency with a commitment and a soul commitment to support and help you. We can have
Mm-hmm.
many, many spirit guides. Our departed loved ones can be our spirit guides. Our
Mm-hmm.
ancestors can be our spirit guides. We can have a shaman that's a spirit guide or a healer. So they're different. They have a different role to play in your life.
And how many angels do we have around us? Or is there a certain number, or is it unlimited? According to our needs.
But there's a lot of controversy. Some people say you have one guardian angel. Other people
Mm-hmm.
say you have two, you have 10. I do believe we have an unlimited amount of angels around us, and we can call
Mm-hmm.
on them. We can have our healing angels or our love angels or
Mm-hmm.
our work angels to come and help us. So if you need help with money, call on your money angels and
Mm-hmm.
ask for their support. So we have a lot of different angelic beings that are around us too. When I look sometimes, it was kind of interesting. I did a plant medicine ceremony years ago, and I wanted to see my angels. So
Mm-hmm.
I was laying down, and I looked up, and there was like a what do you call it? Like a huge apartment building, probably like 100 stories high, and
Mm-hmm.
and there were windows, and in each window was a different angel. And so I had this glimpse of this building with hundreds of angels, say one in each window of all these different ones. So we have many angels that can be around us. We have our primary guardian angels. We all have access to Archangel Michael, all the different archangels. They can be with you whenever you want them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If somebody wants to, like you talked about a little bit earlier, about to contact an angel, how would they go about doing that? I mean, because you talked about some different ways, with cards and stuff. Is meditation a good way to do that too?
Meditation is a great way to do that. And in your meditation, you could ask, my intention is to hear the messages from my angels.
Okay.
And so that becomes a really good way. But you also have to kind of really get yourself in that mindset and be willing to listen. And so I sometimes find, at least in the beginning, that if I had a pen and paper and I
Mm-hmm.
would ask a question, so I wasn't quite in meditation, I wasn't quite in a channeling mode either, but that's when I would get my answers.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another way. Sometimes you have a question, you can even ask it when you go to bed and ask to have the answers in the morning when you wake up.
Oh,
Another
cool.
thing that the angels like to do is they'll show you three numbers, like
Mm-hmm.
333. You'll suddenly look at your clock, it's 111, 222. And that's usually a sign that your angels are near you and they're responding to you. So that's another way. And the other way also is the radio. Kind of
Really?
so unusual how you can have a problem, you can have your broken heart, and you're sitting there, you turn on the radio, and there's a song that you go, God, they're playing that just for me,
Oh,
right?
that's cool.
That's for me. Like how strange that I turn that on right at that moment that they're
Mm-hmm.
talking to me. Well, they are
Mm-hmm.
talking to you, and that's how people have trouble understanding this because we do live in a matrix. It's like each of us is a character in this game, and we
Mm-hmm.
have all these beings assigned to us, and at the right time they seem to show up.
Okay. Awesome. I just find all this incredible. What is the angelic realm like?
Oh, that's such a great question. I Because sometimes when I paint, I'll ask to be shown what the angelic realm looks like so I could
Mm-hmm.
carry it down. But I've had several experiences that have been very profound. One of them was a couple of years ago before I was going into surgery. I was having major dental surgery and I was really scared. And I was standing in my kitchen. And the next thing I know, I was in this realm. I know it was the angelic realm because there was like 1,000 angels
Mm-hmm.
with the harps,
Mm-hmm.
and singing the Hallelujah chorus. And they were just lined up. It was like I had just stepped in and peeked into the heavens. So
Wow.
quite I found that quite exciting. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'll have things like that. There are times that I'll hear the Hallelujah chorus. And when I hear the Hallelujah chorus, I know that I'm on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
either hear that or my heart will sing.
Mm-hmm.
Literally will feel like it's singing, which is very angelic state to be in anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
so I know that's what I'm hearing also.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about like the realm itself, is it like the where we sit here? I mean, you and I are talking back and forth like this, or is it more ethereal where you're floating? Because different religions have different theories about stuff. So, is it a place where the angels are floating around, just watching us, or how's that work?
What if that's an interesting question. Okay, so when I've experienced, I can only talk about my personal experience.
Sure, sure.
And when I've experienced it, I have actually seen the angels in like a physical form. So they're
Okay.
walking around up there. They're in some kind of school or heavenly realm up there, and they have the
Mm-hmm.
ability to walk. They have the ability to fly or float. They have the ability to come down here. And in fact, the Dead Sea Scrolls talk about a time when the angels walked in physical form upon the planet. Or we could see them with our eyes when they walk in physical form. So most of the time, I don't see them with my eyes open. I see them
Sure.
with my eyes closed. And I want to be clear about that. There's a
Mm-hmm.
way of just seeing internally with your third eye where you know that what you're seeing is real.
Mm-hmm.
So I see
Mm-hmm.
that way.
Okay. Okay. What is one of your fondest encounters?
Oh, well, that's so funny. I say that because I'm sitting here and I suddenly see Metatron. While after I answered that question, Metatron, I completely forgot about an encounter I had with him. So I was in they were called the Temples of Humankind. There's
Mhm.
a mystery school called Damanhur in Italy that is quite unique, quite amazing. And they built an underground temple called the Temples of Humankind. And you go down to different levels, and each level has a theme. And I think I
Mhm.
was in the room of waters, the I forget what they call it, but I had my eyes closed and I suddenly felt and saw Metatron. He was about 100 feet tall. He was to my right. And
Mhm.
what I noticed was he did not have wings, no wings. He was pure energy. And that's another thing. Not all angels have bodies,
Mhm.
they don't all have wings, they have pure energy. So, up in the heavenly realms, they're walking around as pure energy of light, also. And the other word of angel is angel, angel of
Mhm.
lights. So I had a friend who used to call me, "Oh, Joan, angel of light," because it's light energy. And so sometimes you'll see that light out of the corner of your eye, like Charlotte, like you saw that sheet, that,
Mhm.
what seemed like a sheet going by. And so you'll see it out of the corner of the eye. It's like the same way you can see ghosts out of the corner of your eye,
Mhm.
um, or entities out of the corner of your eye. You won't see it necessarily looking directly.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I don't. I had a boyfriend that did. I was very
Okay.
jealous. But
Is it difficult for an angel? I mean, because like with ghost, it takes a lot of energy for them to appear to us, or for them to work with the dowsing rods, or whatever we're trying to do. Is it difficult? Does it take a lot of energy for an angel to do this stuff?
well, I think it's easier for the angels. However, as I said, that they don't live in our realm. So
Okay.
any
Yeah.
kind of being coming down into our frequency, it's heavier. Now, can they
Mhm.
perform miracles here all the time? Absolutely. This is where they perform their miracles, and we see examples of that all the time. But as I said, the more you can bring your frequency up to them, the easier it will be for you to have more constant communication, the more you're going to trust their communication and that they're actually
Mhm.
holding your hand. Now, I had a crazy encounter one time, Charlotte. I was on the deck. My sister lived at the beach at Oceanside and had a deck up above, and it was kind of a cloudy night, and I was out there alone. No one was out there with me, and I was laying down on a chaise lounge, just enjoying it. It was a warm night. I was enjoying it, and my eyes are closed, and I suddenly feel something going like this, or no, it's right here, somewhere on my face. Okay, I freaked out because I'm alone, and I open up my eyes, and there's a giant cloud about 20 feet above me, and it's a face, and it's a
Wow.
beautiful face with the most beautiful lips I have ever seen in the entire universe. I've never seen any like such beauty,
Mhm.
and I know that it was Michael, and that he had just gone, he had actually touched me. And so people will experience that. You will, like, sometimes you'll feel the temperature in the room might change, or
Mhm.
you might feel something like that. Some people report that. And it did, it freaked me out. I didn't know what it was, especially since I thought I was supposed to be alone,
Mhm.
so I did feel that. And that was really a beautiful experience.
I wonder about that now that you say that because I had an experience, a car accident that I was involved in up in Tahoe, where I thought I was going to go over the cliff. But what was weird about it is you'd think I'd be absolutely petrified. Thinking, oh God, I'm going to go over the cliff. All of a sudden, I got the most calmest feeling.
Yep.
Like you're going. And my mother reported the same thing because we used to boat on the river, and she had to jump in the water to move this boat we were in, and she got sucked under temporarily. And she said she felt no fear either. Is that the angels calming you when stuff like that happens?
So you felt no fear. Did your car go over the edge?
No, no, no.
Okay, so you actually felt something and
Mhm.
no fear, but nothing, but your car and you
Right.
guys, your mom
Right.
were saved.
Right.
Yeah. Now that's what I expected to hear, actually.
Mhm.
That sense
Mhm.
of I'm actually safe. People
Mhm.
report things like that when they have near death experiences also, that
Mhm.
suddenly they just were in another place, another void, another timeless moment, and they knew everything was going to be okay. And it is that sense. And I do hear that people who feel who about, almost about to lose their life,
Mhm.
and somehow something intervenes and their car isn't injured at all. Like
Mhm.
what they thought was going to be death didn't happen. And so it happens very often. And I think when it happens, we do get that other feeling like some miracles just happened,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know.
In all your years of doing this and working with people, is there one story that sticks out to you the most?
So this is kind of funny. It's a funny story. And actually, it's not a funny story. This is the one. So the one I was going to tell you, they just told me not to tell you that one. They're going to tell you this one.
Okay.
This is one of my very first angel encounters. I was in my chiropractic office. This is many, many years ago. And I had this client beautiful woman who would bring her husband in. He was old. He couldn't walk. He had Parkinson's. And she
Mhm.
started bringing him in because he lost his voice. And she said, my angels told me you can help him. So I started working with him, and his voice came back, but he got progressively weaker and weaker. And she was dragging him around from all these doctors, including me. And she brings him in, and my table, had a table that was motorized, it would go up and down. And as it goes down, I start feeling all of this stuff around my ears. Turns out it's all angel wings. I mean, literally angel wings, little angel wings all around me. And he's going down on the table, and they're telling me that I need to speak to his wife, and I need to tell her that she has to let him go. That all of this, he needs peace now. He needs to be at
Mhm.
home. He needs to be in hospice. He needs to be able to peacefully die. He was preparing to die. But what was most astounding to me was feeling all of these angel wings all around me, and it brought tears to my eyes. I was crying when I spoke to her, and it was really moving. I had, up till then, I hadn't really seen angels. I didn't. I just knew they were the angels. His angels came to tell me, please talk to her now, and so
You
I
know,
did.
that was fantastic. I was just thinking about when I first started doing paranormal investigations back 18 years ago. How hard it was in a lot of ways because it was like we were all in hiding. Because people at that point still thought we were all crazy doing this. Was it that way for you? When you wanted to come out and really start focusing on your angelic contact.
Well, so it was in 2015 that I moved. I was told to move to the desert so I could hear and have a better
Mhm.
connection. And my second day there, I was having breakfast with an old friend, introducing me to a new person. And the woman said to me, the woman named me. I know who you are. She said, you're Joan of Angels. But it took me 7 years to really embody what Joan of Angels meant. And in the
Mhm.
first year or two, I would be mortified. Like, how did you introduce yourself as Joan of Angels? And I'd go, oh, I'm Joan. I would be embarrassed. And one day I was in Santa Monica with my daughter. We were in a shop, clothing shop, started talking to this lovely couple. And they asked me for my card. I grabbed my card and I hand them the Joan of Angels card, not the
Mhm.
Dr. Joan card, but the
Mhm.
Joan of Angels card. I thought my daughter would die. She was so embarrassed. She like pulls me over the corner. First, she goes like this, which means, zip, can you be quiet? Right. And then she goes, how could you, mom? Can't you pretend to be normal? You know? So um, it wasn't an auspicious beginning. It took me a while. And it wasn't until 2020, in the first summer of their pandemic, where I just heard them say, remind me that to be one of the chosen ones, I must choose, and that I I came in
Mhm.
to help uplift humanity, to help people remember that they can connect with the angels, that you too are a fifth dimensional being in a third dimensional body. And I came in to teach all these things. And they gave me quite a talking to that day to remember why I'm here. So, and
Interesting.
I'm here to wake people up. I'm here to remind you that you are a divine being, that you are have limitless potential, that you came in here with a mission, and that you're a soul. And being a
Mhm.
soul is very, very special. I help people remember how powerful their soul is, and I actually create art that you could see your soul, so you can never forget how powerful you are. And so they kind of really had to work with me to remind me
Mhm.
that it's okay to come out as Joan of Angels.
Now you mentioned cards, angel cards, and people tend to be afraid of cards because there's some of them. You hear stories, about how they can tarot can bring up negativity and stuff. What makes angel cards and oracle cards so different?
Well, first of all cards, tarot or oracle, need to be cleared. They need to either
Mhm.
be put out under the full moon, cleared with sage. You have to look through them. You have to turn the cards all up in the right way. In fact, you can clear them with sage, but they need to be cleared. And they're only as pure as the person who is using those cards.
Mhm.
So, again, and and so that's the first thing, is to clear your vibratory field before you use any cards, or even
Mhm.
before you use, like I use the dowsing tool a lot to clear your field so that your energy is pure. I had an encounter with a woman a few weeks ago who said, who um who accused me of doing something that I didn't do, and she says to me, "Are you telling me that my pendulum is wrong? That my pendulum lied to me?" And I said, "Well, yep, your pendulum lied to you, sweetie." But um, I forget what I'm even answering to you about at this point.
Well, just the misnomers between actual tarot cards and say oracle cards and angel cards.
So the tarot cards also come with very prescribed meanings.
Mhm.
We have four, spade, hearts, diamonds. I can't even remember the tarot right now. Because I started in tarot, but
Mhm.
I did a lot of tarot cards for a while. And then in 2006, I went up on my deck at home and I brought my magical tarot deck. And I had, because I only saved it for heavy duty readings, because yes, they're
Mhm.
different, tarot and oracle. And I had the worst reading in my life. The reading told me I was going to lose everything, that there was nothing I could do about it. And it gave me a very dismal view of the future. And I still
Mhm.
won't use that deck. Still won't use the
Wow.
deck. The oracle cards are different. They're subject to a lot of manipulation.
Okay, we got to freeze up. Let's see if we can get out of the freeze up. Hang on. She's frozen up.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
back. See
you're
me? I'm
back.
back. And right. So the oracle cards are kinder and more gentler, and
Mhm.
they're subject to a more of an intuitive energy field around reading it. They're not usually as specific as a yes or no, or the
Mhm.
four of clubs tells you that your foundation or money is coming. So they're just not the same.
Mhm.
I prefer oracle decks myself. I like to use those a lot. I think I had a bad experience with the tarot and myself.
Mhm.
So I'm very shy when I use the
Mhm.
tarot cards.
I always thought the oracle card was nicer because it was more like getting answers right away. Instead of
Well,
having to
yeah,
look at the tarot and go, okay, this means this means that, this means this. But with the oracle card, it's like, okay, here's this. What does this mean to you?
well, yes, yeah, they're both the same. You know what? I had a boyfriend years ago,
Mhm.
um, that I would go when I went out for lunch. And these days, I was taking my tarot deck. It's kind of funny. I haven't even thought of tarot. So we're at lunch, and he pulls a card, and it's the Three of Hearts. Three of Hearts is three arrows in the heart, And I knew he was cheating on me right then and there.
Wow.
And sure enough, he was, because it had happened a few days before when I asked about him and I pulled the same card, the Three of Hearts. Certain cards have certain meanings that you can't lie to yourself about. Let's put it that way. And they're really clear and direct. The beauty of the cards is that the cards reflect what's in your consciousness. They somehow can feed in your consciousness and they give you, they answer to that. They really do. If you have an intention when you do a reading, I want to know what I should do today. You can't ask, what am I going to have for breakfast? But you can say, what should I do today? What would be in the highest service for me? And show me the way, show me, and they will give you those kinds of answers.
Okay. All right. Cool. For someone to come in to you to talk to you, about what you do, how does that usually work? Do they call you? Do they email?
All right, guys, this is how we do it. You go to my website, joanofangels.com. You go to services. You go, oh, wow, she does these great readings, or she does wing fluffing. Wing fluffing, by the way, is when I help you actually feel the presence of the angels. So I do services there, and you can sign up, and we do them on Zoom. I also, on the website, offer soul portraits. And these are one-of-a-kind portraits that I work with you, and I gather a few of your different soul essences that come through. I show them to you, and then in the end, we pick out the one that most represents you. And people love them because it gives them a new vision of themselves. It's hard to have low self-esteem when you have this painting next to you that shows how powerful you really are and how badass, like what an incredible being that you are. It's hard to continue to lie to yourself. So that's how you can find that. Everything I do is Joan of Angels. You can go to my YouTube channel, Joan of Angels, Instagram, Facebook. I'm consistent. And feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my website. There's a contact page. You could write to me or respond to any posts. But yes, I love hearing. Like when I got this contact form from Charlotte, I was so happy. I was so excited to get it and to hear her comments. So I really do love hearing from you guys. It means a lot.
Fantastic. Question I have too is, is there any when someone wants to talk to their angels, is there any preparation they need to go through, like, to clear their minds or anything like that? For like, let's say they're carrying a lot of negativity and they want to talk to their angels. So is there something that they can do to clear themselves up or anything before they talk?
Well, so it just depends. Honestly, I'm just going to say there's different levels to answer that question. You could sit down. Some people pray. You can pray to your angels. Dear angels, I really need help. I pray that you help my mother, you help my father, they're sick, or, help feed our family, however you want to pray. That is one way of talking to your angels. You can just talk to them and just say, I'm confused and I'm lost. Please give me answers. And you have to be able to listen. You either have a pen and paper, and maybe you ask them a question, like, well, what's going on in my life? And you just hear one little word like lost. Maybe they're trying to tell you that you've lost your soul or lost who you are or lost your way. But it's very subtle. You have to be able to hear the nuances of it. And also you really have to want an answer. You have to really want an answer. So if you're having trouble, then you can go online and you can listen to an angel meditation. In fact, I think you're reminding me that I'm going to read at least a few angel meditations in the next month. But you can listen also to some guided meditations to take you down into those realms. So sometimes it's a matter of that. I don't like to listen to meditations with words. I just listen to the music, and it could take me as well.
Now, real quick,
but your angels want to hear from you.
Okay, cool.
They want to hear from you guys. I'm really
enjoying this. I'm having a ball talking to you. I'm really enjoying this.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Charlotte. I want to know more about your ghost work and I'm going to have you on my show. All right, that's going to
Fantastic.
be.
I can do that. That's not a
I want
problem.
to.
Just let me know.
I Yes, yeah. I'll send you some dates, but
Yeah,
yes,
just let me, I'll do it. Let me know. Let me know. When you are working with a client, and trying to teach them about that angelic, that realm, is it hard sometimes for people to be open, or are they pretty much open by the time by the time they talk to you, they're open and they want to learn, or have you come in contact with somebody that is just kind of on the fence there?
I've come in contact with a lot of skeptics in my life. Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a chiropractor for many years. Many skeptics, because there's a mind control program that you think only supposed to think one way, and between Charlotte's ghosts and my angels, you're out of the box already.
Mm-hmm.
But but the key here is to trust your own inner guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Just trust your own connection. It's yours. We honor that. We honor you for having that connection.
Okay. Okay.
And
What do
you,
you
I
say to
think that's
people?
great.
Huh? Go ahead.
I think
Yeah,
this is great that you're
this is
open
great.
to this. Yeah.
I'm having fun. I'm having fun with this. What do you say to people that are maybe at home, and they think they might have contacted their angels and they're not sure?
Well, you could ask.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can ask, "Are you my angels? Are you my angel?" Here's the thing: if you feel a presence, all right, if you feel a presence, and you would know this from your ghost work, but
Right.
first you have to ascertain: is it negative? Am I scared of this energy,
Mm-hmm.
or does it feel good? And again, if the hair on your arms is standing up, especially if you're seeing something and your hair is standing up, that's not a good thing. Just
Right.
just to remind you that's not a good energy. But if you
Mm-hmm.
if you kind of feel smiling inside, or you're curious, then ask them who they are. What's your name? Why are you here? You have a message for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can you help heal me? Can you find my true love? Whatever you want to ask them.
Absolutely. Last question. You're on the strip in Las Vegas, and you're standing in front of your shop, and there's other healers and people that do similar work as you do. How do you get people into your shop?
That's the funniest question. You mean to because I've actually thought of having a shop in Las Vegas. So
Okay.
it's my shop. My shop will have all these angels walking around, literally holographic images taken from
That's
my
cool.
artwork. So I've always had this image that I'd have, because I have some very big angel paintings, that
Mm-hmm.
there would be some kind of gallery where people can walk around, and they're also projected holographically. So you can actually feel and see them moving.
Wow.
And so to me, that would be really cool. I
That would
think
get
that
my attention. Yeah.
if I project them, and project that angelic frequency, and with the art, I think people would definitely want to come and be in there with me.
That would get my attention. That's for sure. Absolutely.
Imagine 50-foot angel.
All right. Once again, how can people find you?
All right, guys, you can find me at joanofangels.com. All things Joan of Angels, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, joanofangels.com. This has been a great
Okay.
interview, Charlotte. A lot of
This
fun.
has been fun. This has been fun. I'll do your show. Okay.
Okay, you're on.
All right. Well, you have a great rest of your evening. Thank you so much for coming on. It was fantastic.
Thank you for having me, sweetie. All
All
right.
right. You have a great one. All right. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right. That was fun. I learned so much. That's what I like. I like to get people on to where I learn stuff, and I love that. I just love this whole angelic, the whole angel thing. Tomorrow, kind of staying along the same run, but it's medium Nancy Matz. It's Casual Friday. We know how that works. And she's going to be talking. She's going to be asking, who is standing next to you? That's our topic for tomorrow. That's 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Medium Nancy Matz will be here for our usual Casual Friday run, and I hope you guys join us. I hope you guys join us. Thank you very much for the like, and I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. And again, keep an eye out for that Patreon. Come on over to Patreon. Help us support the show. That way I don't have to have that thing, that thing running along the bottom asking for money all the time, to keep the show on the air. And I'll be, like I said yesterday, I will be putting together a mid-roll ad to kind of bring you guys over to Patreon once I have everything set up that we're going to establish. But thank you, Pam Nishikawa, for joining over there. I really appreciate it. So I will see you guys tomorrow. If you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hear the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. We are equal opportunity here at California Haunts Radio. We're just trying to get the word out about our little show. That's all. All right? All right, I will see you guys tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, with Medium Nancy Matz. Bye.